Hey, what's up, sports fans? Ryan here. This is the DFS 5-pack. So after another NBA DFS slate like last night, which I'm sure a lot of you guys just things were coming fast and furious, and between like the Hawks and the Pelicans and like just the value that was out there, that was insane. Like, who is excited for the NBA playoffs? Not just for like the playoffs, but like I love NBA DFS playoffs, and like that's going to be here before we know it. We're going to have to deal with a lot of this for the rest of the year. Things are insane. And as some of these teams officially get out of it, it's not going to get any easier. So let's continue to rock this thing. Let's continue to do our best. But it is a bit of, it's almost like work when it comes to playing NBA DFS these days. So we will all continue to do our best. Sometimes you just have to throw your hands up in the air. And remember, if you got personal plans that night, it may not be a bad day to play lightly or play less, or go bet on some sports or play some drafters or something like that, because they are not making it easy on us these days. And I'm kind of hoping the NBA does something about how many guys miss games these days, because it makes the product a little bit less enjoyable. I know I ranted about this a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of you said thank you. I'm sure probably annoyed some of you guys too, so I'll stop now. Either way, click that thumbs up button, guys. Let's talk about tonight's DFS slate for NBA, and then we will talk about the baseball night slate in a little bit here as well. All right. So first things first, there's a variety of ways that we offer free 5-pack memberships. This can get you both sports right now, as we do NBA and we do baseball simultaneously. We're going to talk a little bit more about our boys at Drafters right now. That promo code is DFS 5-pack. Sign up, make a deposit for the first time, get you a free membership. And the same thing goes for our friends at Jazz Sports. If you do sports betting, try a new sports book. Make a deposit over here using the promo code 5-pack. Let me know that you did so, and I can get you a free 5-pack membership. Big deposits get big memberships. That's simple. All right. Speaking of drafters, so I want to make an announcement about them, but before we do that, you guys hear us talk about them a lot. They sponsor the show, and we do these daily drafts with some of our customers, depending on who can get in it for the day. Daniel Allen took down the basketball one last night, so congratulations to you, Mr. Allen. I know you're watching. I was very annoyed that my Bucks won by too much, because I had that game pretty much stacked and I couldn't catch you. You got me again, bud. Congratulations. Nice win on your part. Only you DFS players can understand this. So like when you're rooting for your team and you want them to win by a lot, but you got a lot of players in that game, so you want to stay competitive. Like nobody besides DFS players really can like speak to that conundrum. And in baseball, Mr. Brian Spencer, funny man on the internet yourself, you destroyed the rest of us last night on Drafters Baseball. So nice win, bud. You absolutely mopped the floor. Like, you almost beat second and third place put together. That was a nice win, dude. All right, so the announcement about Drafters. They got a contest right now with large potential overlay for you guys to take advantage of. It's for the NFL Best Ball. It's a $5.55 buy-in with $30,000 in prizes. 10-team drafts, 20 rounds. Keep your team for the season with best ball style scoring. Key differentiator is the cumulative points for the season. No elimination for playoff rounds, where it all comes down to getting lucky on the last week. This is a large overlay. I was talking to their CEO yesterday, and he wanted me to make sure that I announced this, because they're talking about potentially massive overlay on this one. So this is something that maybe you guys can take advantage of. If you're missing football, this is a good way to get involved in it right now. So all that being said, guys, weekly memberships are now available through the site. Website link is below. Subscribe. So let's talk about what we're going to do tonight for NBA DFS, and let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks, who are going to get a lot of attention because they're facing everybody's favorite team to pick on, which is the Washington Wizards. So I got Kristaps Porzingis up right here. I put him and Luka on the cover. But this is more about Dallas than it is about just specifically Porzingis, who I like, assuming he plays. And I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. So the Mavs have, early in the season, they were they took their time with getting Porzingis back from that injury, which made sense. And he didn't always play in back-to-backs. He had lighter minutes. That's not really that big of a worry anymore. Luka, kind of the same thing. Came in a lot out of shape, had some injury issues, not always playing in back-to-backs. It's not impossible to think that Dallas sits one or two of these guys tonight. However, if you look at your standings with how much is left in the season, the Mavericks can't really afford right now not to play competitive games. They could easily move up in the standings in the Western Conference, or they can move down really, really quickly. So I don't expect them just to give this game away and take both of these guys out tonight, but it's not completely out of the question. Y'all are very smart. I know it. You guys are going to pay attention to this. You're not going to go into the NBA DFS slate tonight not watching things like this. But they get a bad defensive team in the Wizards tonight, who are also the number one pace team. This is a great spot for the Mavericks. I'm currently looking at Porzingis. I'm considering Luka. But if one or two of those guys are out, like all of a sudden people are going to start stacking the Mavericks. So it is a top place to go. As things stand right now, I'm very interested in Porzingis, who had been red hot before last night. I'll just take it as a less than stellar game. He had been playing really well prior to that. I like his potential upside here. I don't think it's crazy to play Luka instead or play them together. We are not riddled in like must plays tonight. And every player's got some holes in them from a big money perspective, because whether you're talking about these guys, the guy I'm about to bring up next, my boy Giannis, anybody else on the Bucks, like, or Lillard, like everybody's got back-to-backs you're dealing with. So you have to be cautious. You have to try to find a competitive game. So it's going to be a weird one, but hey, when are these NBA DFS slates not weird lately? Like weird's almost the new normal. So I guess it'd be weird if it was normal. All right, next up, let's talk about GPP. So I don't mind playing some ownership game today. And let's take a look at Julius Randle. Now, this is not a love scenario. Like, I like Julius Randle. I think he's a good play today. He's coming in with projected about 10% ownership. That could go up or down depending on, what other kind of news that we get throughout the day. What I like about Julius Randle over some of the other studs, he may not have the upside of a Giannis or a Luka or anything like that. But what I do trust about Julius Randle today, the New York Knicks don't mess around. He plays. It's one of the things I actually really, really enjoy about the Knicks this year. I don't expect Randle to drop a 65 burger on you guys tonight or anything like that. But the price is back down to a little bit more reasonable at 9,400. It is possible that like a Derrick Rose or somebody like that doesn't play today, which, could help him or something like that. But I trust Coach Tibbs. I trust him to play his guys. Randle has not struggled in back-to-backs this year. They play big minutes. And why couldn't some of these other big money, higher owned studs get into lopsided games and because they all played last night, not play in the fourth quarter? Whereas the Knicks, they need wins and they play their guys. So my favorite thing about Randle is maybe not the potential upside, is a solid matchup with Detroit. But the big thing I like here is every other stud is also on back-to-backs. I trust the New York Knicks to try to win this game and to play their best player big minutes, because Thibs always plays his best player big minutes, barring, injuries, foul trouble, and major point discrepancies. Next up, let's talk about Doug McDermott, Dougie Buckets, but very similar to talking about the Mavericks early on. This is more of talking about the Indiana Pacers as a whole. So this is one of the teams that gave us some funky stuff last night. We had to wait to the last minute on Sabonis, and then he left in the game injured, didn't come back. Brogdon was scratched, literally at the last minute. They started Edmund Sumner. They made T.J. McConnell more desirable. Quite frankly, I have absolutely no idea what to expect from the Pacers tonight from a health perspective. My best guess is Sabonis won't play. I don't know that. It's just guessing. But when you were questionable and then left the game in a game where you really needed to try to win, and a game that wasn't completely out of hand or anything like that, my guess is you're not playing today. So this would open up a lot of minutes for Dougie Buckets. I believe Jeremy Lamb is not in today already, so they're missing guys. McDermott is lined up to potentially play 30-some minutes today. Now, if Brogdon and Sabonis play, I am a lot less likely to go to Doug McDermott, but he's, he averages 21 points a game this year. He's 4K. He's quote unquote in play. And if he gets hot from three, can occasionally provide, better value in situations like this. So this is not your mom and dad Spurs team. They're a decent matchup. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call them a plus matchup, but they're average, maybe a little bit better like that. So he's in play, but this is all about who's in and who's out tonight. And I think we could potentially see McDermott take a bunch of threes today because it's going to be needed. And they might need his offense more here. Pacers need wins too. So no matter who's in and who's out today, they got to play to win. They are, I believe, currently the 9th seed in the East. And with the playing games and everything like that, they still got an opportunity to be in the playoffs because, we still got plenty of time left too. And the East is so tight down there. But they need wins. You can't afford to not give away games. So no matter who's in and who's out today, they got to play to win this one. Next up, Let's talk about the other Antetokounmpo, Thanasis of the Milwaukee Bucks. So he is, by all definitions, an absolute true long shot. Other than the game last week, which I think was 8 days ago now, where Milwaukee pulled all of its good players minus Brook Lopez, and Thanasis went for whatever, it was close to 50. Like, he's always a true long shot. Assuming Milwaukee runs out their full team today, which I expect. They just got hot the last 2 games, played 2 very good basketball games. I mean, they did whatever they wanted against the Blazers last night. This is a true long shot. So the Kings, who had been playing really well, they are on a downward trend right now. They played like ball sack the last 2 games. The Bucks have played a lot better. They played a bad first quarter against the Lakers and then rolled after that. They pretty much did whatever they wanted against the Blazers tonight. So if those trends continue, and knowing that Milwaukee doesn't want to mess around with some of these teams like Sacramento, I can see my Bucks rolling tonight. Far from a guarantee. But in that situation that the Kings continue this 3-game slide and the Milwaukee continues to play well, I think you could potentially see like a big fourth quarter from Thanasis, who already gets a few points because he usually gets a little run in the first, like in the second quarter sometimes, occasionally in the first quarter right away. They like the energy that he brings. So there is an opportunity for him to like slide into the fourth quarter already having 6, 7, 8, 9 DK points. And then if he could play 8 minutes in the fourth quarter in the type of game flow where Milwaukee rolls right here, that could be the type of time, the type of situation where he gives you nice solid DFS points at like 0.1% ownership or something like that. So by all definitions, this is a true long shot. True long shot. The odds are this is a terrible play. But for those of you who play, 200 entries, who play deep GPs, and you're trying to get somebody who might not get much of a look, he's going to get no look. Unless all of a sudden, like, the other Antetokounmpo's out. There is no PJ Tucker tonight. That can help him. They got a bunch of these, two-way type of players right now, but he's a guy that they love the energy that he brings. In a high-octane game like this, both teams on a back-to-back, things could get weird here. They could absolutely get weird here. All right, next up, let's talk about Elfrid Payton of the New York Knicks and another true long shot. Now, if Derrick Rose doesn't play today, tail end of a back-to-back after having COVID issues and everything like that, which is not impossible, that would be a guy more likely to sit out from the Knicks. He becomes a little bit less of a long shot. However, Elf has kind of, run into Thibs' doghouse lately. They're now more full up at the point guard position with Rose back. You had RJ Barrett playing well. Quickly's the future. Didn't really make sense for Elf to be playing as many minutes as he had throughout the season anyway. But over the past 2 weeks, has really fallen into the doghouse as far as not playing big minutes, with the exception of, I think, 2 games ago, he played 31 minutes and had a nice game. If you play Elfrid Payton tonight, that's kind of what you're hoping for. If he plays well and plays assertively early on, you could definitely see Coach Thibs playing him longer minutes today. Now, his price tag is down all the way to 4,200. He averages 23 DK points this year, and it's even after a rough patch over the last couple of weeks. So it's not like he's crazy expensive. We know that throughout most of the season, Alf was giving you 25 to 30 DK points pretty regularly. So it's not crazy to think against a bad Pistons team that he gets a couple of steals early on, makes a couple of shots, and all of a sudden, Thibs rides the hot hand right here. And then the point guard position is already a little weaker today than it is normally. Let's say you want to go Luka, Giannis, Randle. Well, you're going to need some of these cheaper guys. So I think that's where you could throw him in the long shot scenario. Again, not quite to the point of Thanasis, but this is a true long shot. This is probably, the odds are, not going to be a money play at the end of that. That's why I put him into the true long shot category. And once again, though, if we find out that the Knicks do rest anybody, specifically Derrick Rose, that does make him less of a long shot and a little bit easier to run with, even though you can see the writings on the wall that quickly will eventually have this job. They also have Alec Burks that comes in and plays. He's been hot, really, over the last month or so playing off the bench. So they got a variety of guys in New York who can play some of this distribution and guard role. So you just really need Alf to play well and for Thibs to buy in for him for today. So that's what I got, guys. We'll talk some baseball in a little bit. Thank you very much. Click that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you soon.